we have reached now is that Big Mo, who has turned out to be a wonderful daddy, who lives in India, a strong and mighty man. He's given up drinking alcohol, he's given up fighting. He's done all of this because his life has been changed by two people. Dookie, the little girl that he saved after she was left under a spirit tree by her mother, who was afraid of the evil spirits, and by God, who saved Dookie's life when Dookie was bitten by a snake after the charm doctor had gotten angry at them. And now, Big Mo and Dookie, as well as someone else, what is her name? Sookie, a little girl that Big Mo saved from a fire that the charm doctor was trying to use to kill this little baby. They have moved to the mission school. They are living in a new house there. They have a beautiful front step that all three of them can sit on and watch the moon at night and talk about God. Dookie's going to school every day. Big Mo's working for the doctor every day. Sookie stays with a nice lady who helps take care of her during the daytime. And they are a happy little family. And then we heard last night that as they were going to bed, they had said their prayer for protection as they did every night. And then Big Mo heard a lot of noise outside, sounds of barking dogs and screaming people. And that is where things had stopped. Let's pray and then we will finish our story. Heavenly Father, I thank you so much for this one last opportunity for us to learn another lesson from the story of Big Mo. We have been so excited to meet this person through this book. We are excited to someday meet Big Mo in person in heaven, along with Dookie and Sookie and everyone that we are learning about, that has heard about you and has listened to what you have said. We ask that you will help me to tell the story well, help the kids to listen and remember it, and to learn the lessons that need to be learned from it. We love you. Amen. The sound of screaming was not just one person screaming, it was two. And the dogs kept barking and snarling, and Big Mo leaped up out of bed, and he grabbed a little thing that the mission doctor had given him to be able to do his work. Because you remember, Big Mo's work now is to go out and transport people who need to get to the mission hospital. He's kind of like their ambulance. He goes walking, it doesn't matter how far it is, he puts them on his mighty shoulders, and he carries them there to the mission hospital. And sometimes he would go when it was dark, and where it was late at night. And so the mission doctor had given him a flashlight. He was the only one in his whole village who had ever owned a flashlight, and he was so happy with it. And now he used it to make the light shine out by pushing the button, and he stuck it out the door and looked down the road, and sure enough, he could see. It looked like two men running with about 4 or 5 dogs just jumping and barking and snarling. And Big Mo thought, wow, well, I'm glad that my children are safe and I'm safe. And I don't know what was going on with them, but I hope they'll be okay. Well, Big Mo found out what was going on with them the next morning when he showed up to work, and the mission doctor said, "Oh, Big Mo, did you hear about that little commotion last night?" "Oh, yes, doctor, I was in my bed, and I heard a noise, and there was dogs barking, and men running and screaming." "Yes, actually, 2 men, and would you know, they're from your village, Big Mo. I think you would have recognized them." The mission doctor had a little bit of a twinkle in his eye. "One of them was, a man who had just recently had lost his wife, and she had been burned on a funeral pyre, and then her little daughter was saved by a rather strong man by the name of Mo." And Big Mo said, "It was Sookie's father?" "Yes, it was, and the other man, well, I think you definitely recognize him, at least you would have. It was the charm doctor from your village. He's okay, I suppose, but he was rather bitten and scratched up. Actually, the 2 of those men were found huddled in the jungle early this morning, just bleeding and in a lot of pain, quite drunk as well, and they've been arrested. So what had happened, Big Mo, is the charm doctor and the father of Sookie had been arrested initially for trying to burn Sookie, and then they just got released out of jail just a couple of days ago. And do you have any reason why they would have been around your house last night?" And Big Mo realized that prayer for protection had done exactly what God had promised. The angels had been around their house, the dogs had come, and even though the charm doctor and Sookie's father had been hiding and planning to do something to Big Mo in revenge for what he had done, these dogs had chased them away, and now they had been captured again by the police, and according to what the mission doctor said, it looked like the charm doctor would not be getting out of jail for a very long time, because the police said they were starting to find evidence that the charm doctor had been taking babies that would be sometimes left under the spirit tree, and he would sell them to the temple in another town nearby to use as slaves. And Big Mo finally understood why the charm doctor had always seemed to have an eye on Dookie and been upset that Big Mo had interrupted his plans. The charm doctor had been planning to steal Dookie. Did I say Sookie? Yeah, I meant Dookie. He had been planning to steal Dookie when she was a little baby, and Risa had left her under the tree to take her and sell her to get rich. Oh, the charm doctor. What an evil man. What things he would do just because he felt that this was the way to make the evil spirits happy and to make himself wealthy. Big Mo felt a little sad for him, but he also felt that it was just for this man to now be in jail where he would not be able to do this anymore. Well, Big Mo kept doing his work. Big Mo's job as an ambulance continued, and one day he was able to save a very, very small little boy. A young boy. He was probably about 2 years old, and his name was Mali. And Mali's parents had both died from a fever, and when people had found Mali, he was in the hut where his parents had both died. They had been dead there for at least a couple of days, and Mali had just been sitting in his bed, just hungry and alone and scared. And when they found him, all he would say was, "Mama, rice! Mama, rice! Mama, rice!" And they picked him up, and Big Mo said, "I will carry him." And he took little Mali, and he carried him a few miles back to the mission. And all that way, Mali would just look up at Big Mo and say, "Mama, rice! Mama, rice!" He was so hungry, and yet when they got there, he'd been without food for so long, and he was so weak that he couldn't even eat. And they were very worried as to what they could do to help him gain his strength back. He needed to eat. He could barely even drink water. And finally, the doctor, the mission doctor, in desperation said, "Big Mo, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but there is a procedure that we could do that would help to save this baby's life. It's called a blood transfusion." And Big Mo had never heard of it. And so if we could test and find someone whose blood type is similar enough to this boy's, we could give him a transfusion of that blood. And that blood would give him enough strength to hopefully begin eating again. And Big Mo said, "Okay, what do you need from me?" And the doctor said, "Well, I would just take a little bit of your blood now and test it. And if it happens to match, then we would ask you to give us more of your blood. Not enough for you to die, of course, but it would be enough to give this child another chance at life." Big Mo didn't even hesitate. He'd never heard of a blood transfusion. He had no idea that it was possible to take some blood away from a person and that person would not just drop over dead. But Big Mo was no longer afraid. Big Mo's fears were a thing of the past because Big Mo trusted in God. Big Mo said, "Go right ahead. You can do what you need to do." And they checked, and sure enough, the blood type matched. And so Big Mo washed his arm. They prepared his vein. They took his blood. They connected it up to a tube. They collected the blood in a container. And then they gave the blood to little baby Mali. And little baby Mali lay there. He was so weak he wasn't even saying anything anymore. Just laying on the bed, just weak. And as Big Mo watched the transfusion, the blood leaving his arm and then going through and being given to the little boy, Big Mo thought about his children, Dookie and Sookie, and he thought about how he would give his life for them, and now he was kind of giving some of his life for this little boy. And then he thought, this is like what Jesus did when he gave his blood on the cross. He gave me life. Big Mo never thought about this before. There was so much about God and Jesus that Big Mo was still learning, and it just was an exciting thing to him every day to realize, I didn't know this. I hadn't thought about it this way before. The transfusion was finished, and Big Mo went into one of the small bathrooms in the hospital to clean up. He had a bandage on his arm. Now he washed his face and cleaned up, and then he had a towel. Or he had a towel. Where did that towel go? His face was wet, and he was feeling around for a towel. And then one of the nice nurses came in and she said, "I'm sorry, sir, are you looking for a towel? Here you go." And she gave him a towel, and he dried his face off. And as he was drying his face, the woman said, I came to apologize to you, sir. I'm so sorry. I need to apologize. And Big Mo couldn't think what this nurse would need to apologize to him for. Had they done something wrong with his blood transfusion? Was there a mistake? Did they need to put a new bandage on? And he brought the towel down, and he looked at her, and she looked, I don't know, just like a nurse. She was dressed up like one of the Indian nurses who worked there at the mission hospital. And she looked a little familiar too, but he couldn't place it. And then she said, You do not know me, and I have tried to stay out of your sight so that you would not know me, but I need to apologize to you for what I did when your daughter was brought here with a snake bite long ago. You see, when you arrived that day and her leg was bitten and she was so very sick, but I heard that she was here and I heard that she was from a village that I recognized the name of the village, and so after they had given her the magic water and put her in the bed to sleep and you slept there by her all night, but I peeked in and I looked and I thought you looked somewhat familiar, and then I looked and I did not recognize the child, but I still thought, well, it's possible. And in the morning that day when you got up and you went outside for a little bit and another nurse stayed to watch the child, I came into the room and I asked her if I could just have a moment. And well, this is why I must apologize to you, because I had made you a promise long ago that I would never see her again. But I am her mother Risa, and I could not let her be there without at least kissing her once on the forehead. Oh, please forgive me. And she knelt. It was Dookie's real mother. It was Risa, the one that Dookie and Big Mo had been praying for. The one who had been so scared of the evil spirits. The one who had believed it when the charm doctor said, "Oh, your husband died because you had a baby girl. You must put that baby girl under the spirit tree." She had done it and she had been afraid, and then she had come to try to steal the baby back out of Big Mo's house to put her under the spirit tree because she was so afraid of the spirits. And now here she was talking to Big Mo in the mission hospital. Here she was looking healthy and clean and not afraid, except nervous of Big Mo and still waiting there for his forgiveness. Big Mo just looked. Yes, I do forgive you. Your promise to never see her again was only because you thought if you did, the spirits would be angry. But I do not believe in the power of the spirits, and I do not think you do either. No, sir, I do not. I am a Christian. After I left her with you, I did not know what to do for a couple of years, and then for a couple of months, and then I found my way here to the mission, and I learned about Jesus, and I learned how he was stronger than the evil spirits. I learned to be a Christian, and I have been praying for Dookie and for you ever since. But I have kept my promise. I have not told her who I am, even though I've been around and I see her every day. I do not tell her. Big Mo thought to himself. He didn't know what to say. This was not a situation that a big, strong man like Mo was used to being in. So he kind of awkwardly patted her head and told her it was okay to stand up, and she did. And then the doctor barged in to the room. There was a lot of people meeting in this bathroom today. Oh, Big Mo, there you are. Excuse me, Nurse Risa. Big Mo, you won't believe it. Well, you should believe it. It's a wonderful thing. The Lord has blessed our blood transfusion, and baby Mertie is awake. You must come and see him. He's asking for you. For me? Thought Big Mo, why would he be asking for me? He came into the room, and there was little baby Mertie, sitting upright in the bed, looking around, and when he saw Big Mo, his eyes got big, and he raised his arms, and he said, "Mama Rice! Mama Rice!" And the doctor said it took us about 5 minutes to figure out who he was talking about. Apparently, he thinks your name is Mama Rice. The rest of us have tried to feed him. He will not let us. We are hoping that perhaps he will let you feed him. Big Mo came over, and with a tenderness that was so unusual to see in someone so big and strong, just sat on the edge of the bed and held baby Mertie on one leg and took a spoonful of the rice that was there in the bowl and held it up, and baby Mertie ate the whole bowlful right down. And as he did, the doctor stood and watched. Nurse Risa stood and watched. Everyone stood and just watched. And the doctor said, "Well, you know, you're a good daddy." And Big Mo knew where this was going. And obviously, little Mali, well, he has no mother and father anymore, but it seems as if he's found a mama. And, well, what do you think? Do you think perhaps you'd like to keep him too? Oh, Mo, you were not expecting this in your life, were you? You have a child named Dookie, whose name means grief. You have a child named Sookie, whose name means joy. Now, little Mali, who calls you Mama Rice. But Mo knew it would not be fair for him to make this decision on his own. He knew that he would need to talk to Dookie, and not just about Mali, but also about Risa. So Mo asked the doctor for a little time, and he asked Nurse Risa to come with him. And she followed, quietly, walking next to him as they went back to his house. And there was Dookie playing with little Sookie in the front yard. And Sookie looked up and went, "Oh, Big Mama!" And Dookie said, "Oh, Big Daddy Mo, you've met my play mother." "What?" "You know, the play mother. You still have not met her, but this is the one who takes care of Sookie every day. She is the one that I go sometimes and talk to, and she tells me many beautiful stories about Jesus." Big Mo had been wondering and worrying, would he be able to explain to Dookie who this woman was? And would Dookie be friendly towards her? Would she be frightened of her? Would she accept her as at least someone that could be a friend, if not a mother? But here all along, God had it all worked out. Dookie and Sookie had been spending time with Risa for months. They'd become close friends without even knowing that this was Dookie's real mother. Mo knelt down right in front of Dookie. And he explained what was going on with baby Mali, who was calling him Mama Rice. And he explained that this was her mother, the Risa that they had been praying for. And then he said, "And so Dookie, my intent at first was to come to ask you if it would be all right with you as my oldest daughter for a little boy to join our family. But perhaps I am also asking you, and you," and he looked over his shoulder at Nurse Risa, whether there is space in our home for a mother as well. And if you'd like to know what Dookie replied, well, I guess you're just going to have to sit there and let me finish telling you the story. Because if you were to join me and maybe standing behind a little cluster of bamboo trees near a mission hospital in India and peek around one moonlit night, you would see a little house and it would have a little step. And that step would be big enough, not just for 3 or for 4, but for 5. And those 5 would sit and look at the moon and talk about the God of the heavens, the God who had watched over them, the God who had made them a family. Thank you.